Mr. McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield or chairman yield?
Mr. Farrell yields.
Denny, thank you. This budget, this bill on the economic development and gaming section talks about $69.5 million, which is the same as the governor proposed, and $3 million more than last year, right?
Yes.
And the funding supports tourism promotion service, Governor's Open for Business initiative, Global New York international and domestic trade missions, international and domestic trade missions, as well as advertising of Startup New York. Any idea of the $69.5 million, how much of that is going to go to Startup New York?
How much? Oh, it's an amount that will be done by the governor. The executive will have to set it up, give us the numbers.
So it's not earmarked. We're just sitting here with a pool of $69 million, but no specific amount for startup, right?
Yes. He has programs, and those programs can be covered.
Okay. And then we're going to pay for his travel overseas, apparently, for trade missions.
I haven't seen him leave. I think he left the country once in 7 years, so I don't think he's traveled that much.
No, actually, twice recently. We got Cuba, which went nowhere, and Israel, which probably pretty much knows where New York is and doesn't need much help trading with us, but it helps when you're thinking about running for president to go to Cuba and to Israel. But I guess Ireland is next because a lot of Irishmen here.
I went to both of those, by the way.
With him?
No.
Did you pay for it, or did we pay for it as part of the $69 million?
Oh, that was, no, not the 69. That was 69 years ago.
And you were still chairman back then, I think, right?
Yes.
All right. So Denny, it says that no more than 60% of the funds used to advertise startup may be used for promotion outside the state. No more than 60%. Any idea why? Because if the program's designed to bring business in, why are we spending any of the money at all virtually in New York State? Shouldn't like 80-90% of it be spent outside the state?
No, but I think, outside, no. The inside is being used because there are business people throughout the state that don't know anything or don't understand something and see one of those commercials and they decide maybe I should try to go and get it. So it's also getting young people who come from our state who want to create better jobs, do things, they can do it. So that's why you have it, and then you do the rest out of the rest of the state.
Okay. Well, the last I knew, Denny, are you familiar at all with the Empire Center's most recent report on Startup New York that came out about a week ago?
No.
Okay. Where it said that Startup New York lost almost as many new job commitments as it added during 2016. So there's a lot of us that think this is an epic waste of, I don't know what the real number is, but it's a minimum of $53 million. I think it's way higher than that, though. We also had Sandy money diverted from Sandy recovery to pay for this disastrous program. There's a lot of us that don't understand why we continue to throw more money at a program that anybody on either side of the aisle with Econ 101 in their background would recognize this is an epic failure.
But you said it. You said people went out and people came in. If you didn't have this, it would just be leaving, not coming in. So it's a victory.
I love the spin. I love you, Denny, but that is some serious spin. I would spin it a different way. I would say if we took the $53 million in advertising and made it in single dollar bills, we'd at least would have heated a couple homes for a couple days. At least we would have got something out of the $53 million. some therms, maybe a little warmth.
No,
because
but I joke, but it's not a joke. One of your problems is you're changing. You're not building airplanes there anymore. You're doing other things. So as they go out of business, new businesses come in.
well, yeah,
So if
Danny,
you can keep doing that up, one day you might even go to a position where
Well-
you start gaining.
yeah, I got to tell you, Danny, we just don't buy it. I mean, the
I'm not
stated
selling.
goal of Startup New York, the stated goal is 4,400 jobs over 5 years. This is a state of 19 million and declining rapidly, 19 million people. Even if, using their own numbers, you got 4,400 jobs, that's pathetic. That is anemic. That is ridiculous. And I would say that's about a week's worth of jobs in the state of Texas. But yet, over years and years, we're going to claim that if we have full numbers, which we clearly are not, that's somehow a good thing. 4,400 jobs spending this kind of money. I just don't get it. And I know that really wasn't a question, so let me phrase it in a question.
I've got an answer, though.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it again. You're getting change. I mean, when you reach my age, I remember all the pretty airplanes they built there, the Airacobra and all that. That was built in Buffalo. They don't do it. No, people don't even know what an airplane is, maybe. But when you have change going on, you have to fight to keep it going because a lot of things have changed.
Understood. Danny.
Air conditions, you can go south. You can go to Texas now. They got air conditioning finally.
That's the
So
whole
we have
point.
to fight to keep them here. So we have to keep doing it. So if you ignore it, maybe it should be better, but we shouldn't stop it.
No, but Denny, it's pretty simple that this is not working, and we can continue to pound money at this program. A program, by the way, that I thought, wasn't the governor going to change the name? I thought Startup New York was gone, but yet it appears in this budget. I thought we were renaming it for the third time. I guess I don't know how we're appropriating money to a program that we don't think is going to even exist going forward by the governor's own admission and by his economic development. I'll call it a director. I don't see much direction, but the economic development of the state, even he said they were changing the name. So why are we putting any money into Startup New York?
Well, I assume when they change the name, they'll also make sure they get the bank account. They're not going to leave that go. So the name, I didn't know anything about that, but whether they change the name or not, we have to continue to fight up there, because if we don't, then you're going to really be in trouble. It'll get worse.
But Denny, what this economic development director, Mr. Zemsky, said, and what the governor has repeatedly said, is that this advertising was designed to change the image of New York.
Yeah.
Not actually change New York, but change the image of New York as a high tax state or an unfriendly place to do business. We are still the bottom of the barrel of business friendly states. We are still the top of the list for taxation or thereabouts. So I guess I would say this: it isn't working, and wouldn't a $50 or $100 million or whatever, however much money we end up spending on this, and the results are completely dismal, wouldn't a tax cut or less fees, less fines, less regulations, wouldn't that make a heck of a lot more sense? And by the way, this is a program, and I would say that what I just talked about should go across the board to everybody who's brave enough to do business in this state. It would make a lot more sense to have a rising tide lift all boats instead of the connected and the selected, because the only place you can even begin to take advantage of this is on a college campus.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't it make more sense to spend that money in tax cuts, less fees, less fines, less regulations?
If I remember correctly, and it's been a while since we did it, we have cut taxes up there. So if you put in new people, workers, the programs, I can't remember all of them, that they have work to do to make sure that business continue. In other words, they have not done what you've said. They've done that and more when it comes to cuts. In some of the locations there, I don't think they're paying any taxes, depending on what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Right. Well,
And that is because they're through the programs that we have there. And it's the same thing. We are in a change. I mean, it's been a change, and it's going to be, and you're right, if it weren't for the schools, we would be in trouble. The schools are working because they're beginning to bring in more and more jobs that go because you need bright people to build some of the things they want to do in the new world we're living in, the electronic world. So those schools that we have there are getting educated, and getting jobs there.
Yep.
So we're continuing to try to draw those people in. So there is a vision we have with the transition from the past to the present.
Well,
and sometimes it looks hard.
But
And
Danny-
when you talk about the commercials, the good thing about them is they keep the people in the state not feeling like, woe is me, we're in trouble, the world is ending, we've got to end it. We're saying it can get better, and he's working very hard to try to accomplish that. And these things take money, and we're doing it.
well, Danny, I know I'm almost out of time, but a fairy tale makes you feel good too, but it's not reality, and neither is the success of this program. But I thank you. I may be back to comment on the bill, but I, of course, thank you for your commentary and your service and your trip 69 years ago to Israel when you were still chairman, I'm sure. But we thank you, Denny. Thank you very much.